Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is morning, I think. Somewhere around 6 a.m. here in Alaska. And I got to thinking while I was on patrol just now. Well, I wouldn't really call it patrol, mostly because I was just walking around trying to reacclimate myself to what's going on. Silence. Silence is sometimes necessary. When I was walking around, there's a radio over off on one of the docks, and you can hear it all the way across to the other dock. Water tends to allow sound to travel pretty well. Because of this, I wasn't really able to think the way that I like to think when I'm on patrol. I prefer being able to listen to all the sort of ambient sounds that nature provides. Not so much to be one with nature or something along those lines. I guess it's less romantic than that. It's so that I can listen and hopefully only listen to that. But when you have this sort of constant ambient din in the background, other things become more apparent. Like there's a microwave that just got kicked on in the other room. I wouldn't have heard that if other sounds were happening. So it's nice to have a certain level of background noise. Like when recording, for instance, you would prefer to have your background noise probably around negative 60 dB. That's decibels for those who don't know. That's just because it means that you have really almost no discernible sound and it's not going to affect the quality of your recording. So when you do, in fact, speak, it's not in any way washed out by background sounds or interrupted, if you will. So because of that, you end up with better quality. Well, the same thing goes when you're observing anything. And because my job is observing, I I would prefer to have a certain level, mostly whatever nature's going to do. And especially because there's a contrast between nature and mankind. If I live in a city, or like when I was a security guard several years ago, I could hear the highway all the time. But it would be busier at certain times of the day than at night. But even at night, it was still busy enough to create this ambient din that was going on. And it made listening for other things easier. If I was hearing human sounds, most of the time it wouldn't be a problem. But because I was in an area that was forested, I would try to listen for creature sounds that would help identify like what's going on. Because if creatures are doing something, then that could mean that something else is going on, whether it's humans or other creatures. The same thing goes for here. If the music was off, one, I could appreciate it for what it is, but two, I'd be able to do my job better, having that sort of flat level of background noise. I do recall this being an interesting sort of metaphorical idea for life. I mean, in a way, everything is if you think about it in the right way. But what I found fascinating was it's like when you're looking for your car keys. If you're looking for your car keys, you generally don't find them. You're focused on your keys. You're focused on all the things that could be keys, and you're not letting them stand out. You're narrowing in on them. And so everything could effectively be your keys. And thus you'll never find them. Whereas when you stop looking for your keys and you start doing things that you need to do, you need to take care of this or that or whatever, then the keys almost become obvious and apparent. Hence why it's usually the keys were found in the last place you looked. Well, one, obviously, because you stopped looking, but two, because you stopped looking. You stopped looking because you found them, but because you stopped looking, you found them.